my name is Tiffany. Welcome back to my channel. So I want to apologize for being gone for so long. I think it's been like a month now since I recorded a video, but today's video is going to be on mental health, so it'll kind of touch base on why I've been gone for so long and why I'm finally recording again. So yeah, let's get into this video and talk about my mental health ever since I've given birth. So this video, I feel like, is a little bit harder to make only because it is a more sensitive topic. I know I have family members who watch this video, so like it's just like airing everything out, but I feel like mental health is definitely an important thing to talk about, especially when it comes to postpartum. So now I am 4 months postpartum, and things have been going pretty well, but there are like a lot of ups and downs. So yeah, that's where I am right now. So let's start from the very beginning. So the first 2 weeks was probably the hardest 2 weeks of my entire life. The first day that I came home, so I was like, this was like 3 days after I gave birth, I ended up in the ER because I was super dehydrated and I didn't eat all day, and then I thought I was gonna die. So yeah, I ended up there. But we were just so focused on taking care of Lydia that I didn't drink any water, I didn't eat anything all day, and so by the end of the day, I seriously thought I was dying. And when you are breastfeeding, I literally did not know that it would take such a huge toll on your body. So yeah, I ended up in the ER, and then the day right after that, Lydia ended up in the ER because her body temperature was too low. We stayed there for like 11 hours. It was so long, and it was honestly like one of the worst days of my life, just watching her getting poked and prodded and her just like crying. And then she was dehydrated because they wouldn't let her eat while she was there. And so that was just a huge mess. And I was just struggling with not knowing if anything would ever return back to normal, or not normal, but like normal enough with a baby, and then not knowing how to take care of a baby, me feeling a lot of guilt and not connecting with the baby. And we also didn't want to ask for help because we didn't want to be a burden on his in-laws. So it was just a really, really rough 2 weeks. And then we finally ended up going to his grandma's house where his parents were there, his grandma was there, and it was just like finally being around family again for the first time in a week was like honestly one of the best feelings ever. Before we went to his grandma's house, I had the baby blues like really, really, really badly. Like I just remember just crying all the time. Like I would wake up in the morning and Chad and Lydia were still sleeping in the room, so I would literally go in the living room and just lay there and just cry. And I would try to cry so quietly because we live in an apartment, so you can pretty much hear everything, and I didn't want to wake them up. So I would just lay there and cry, and then I would cry in the shower. We were just crying all the time. I was crying when I was feeding her, crying when I was looking at her. Like I was so thankful that she was alive and healthy and here with us, but it was just hard. Like my emotions were all over the place. I am really thankful that I had Chad at that time because we were able to lean on each other and communicate with each other and be really, really honest about everything we were feeling. So I think the fact that we were both so supportive of each other, it was really helpful in us getting through that really hard time period. So this part is still a part that I feel really, really guilty about. Like to this day, even 4 months postpartum, like looking back at pictures at that time, like this makes me feel so guilty. So I felt so connected to her when she was in my belly. Like I loved feeling her movements. I loved like talking to her and just like rubbing my belly, and was like so excited for her to get here. But I think because my birth was a little bit traumatic, it was very hard for me to connect with her in the beginning. Like I just remembered when she came out and they laid her on my chest, like I was so thankful that she finally came out safely and she wasn't harmed or anything, and she was healthy, and like I just felt nothing. Like I was thankful that she was there, but like I didn't have those like overwhelming feelings of joy and like tears running down my face and like just crying because I was so happy. Like I just didn't feel anything. And the entire 3 days we were in the hospital, I literally felt nothing. Like I was just so emotionless, just like wake up, feed her, go to sleep, wake up, feed her, go to sleep, like every 2 hours, and that was it. So thinking back on that time, like, it's still really hard for me to talk about, and I only tell this to people who are close to me, but I feel like this is something that is very important to talk about because it happens very, very often. So I don't feel like I was fully able to connect with her up until I think she was like 3 weeks old. So it took a good bit of time for me to like actually feel those feelings of bonding with her. And like now, like I literally love her more than words can explain, and I am just like so obsessed with her and so in love with her. But at that time, like I didn't have those feelings, and I think that really dampened my mental health as well, and it didn't really put me in that great of a place at the start because I felt so guilty that I couldn't connect with her. And I was like, I've been wanting her my entire life. Like I've always wanted kids. Like everyone knows that about me. Like I love kids so much and I've always wanted one. And then I finally had one and I felt nothing. So those feeling of guilt still bother me to this day because I didn't really get to enjoy that time with her when she was born. And now she's a lot older. Like I can't ever go back and enjoy that moment again. So yeah, that's kind of difficult. But yeah, it still makes me upset when I talk about it because I just feel so guilty about it. And I'm just hoping like eventually I can just like move through this because I do love her so much. The breastfeeding part, the first 2 weeks were also so hard on my mental health as well because she was born with really bad jaundice and her bilirubin levels kept going up. So I had to make sure, especially that she was eating enough to get rid of all the bilirubin in her body. So I was feeding her every 2 hours for the first 2 weeks of her life. And that was so difficult because I was so sleep deprived. Like this is a level of sleep deprivation that I have never experienced in my entire life because it took her like an hour to eat in the beginning. And so I would have to sleep for an hour before I would have to get back up and feed her again. So I was running on such little sleep that like I couldn't even like function properly because I was so tired all the time. And that was definitely really hard as well because like 1, I was already feeling super guilty. 2, I had the baby blues pretty badly as well. And then 3, on top of that, not being able to sleep to like recoup and just regather yourself was just like all of that thrown together was just like not good for my mental health at all. So like I was just really sad all the time during the first 2 weeks. But like I just had to keep telling myself like this is only temporary, and if it kept going on then I would obviously have to talk to my doctor and like talk to them about postpartum depression or like postpartum anxiety. But yeah, like it was rough, and I just had to tell myself that like God's timing is always right. So even if I'm not ready at this point in my life, like he knows that I'm ready and that I can handle anything. So I just had to keep telling myself like this is hard, but like we can get through it, and like everything happens for a reason. Like God gave us Lydia for a reason. And I just had to keep reminding myself that and just like keep pushing through. But yeah, and then it's taken me so long to make a video because at around 3 months, okay, so let me backtrack. So after like 3 weeks when I was finally able to connect with her, I was like back to normal. Like I was so happy. I was like, yeah, I was just like so happy, so in love, like so like, oh my gosh, like I can do everything. Like I had my energy back and like I just felt normal again. And then 3 months hit, and like I think like finally, I guess my hormones were like either leveling back out or going crazy again. But that's when my hair started falling out like really badly. Like there's hair everywhere as we speak right now, and I'm just constantly like vacuuming, constantly cleaning, trying to get rid of it. And then my skin started getting really bad again, as you can see, because like I'm not wearing makeup right now. And then my anxiety got really bad. Like I couldn't sleep without thinking something was going to happen to her, and like I would come up with like all these like really like crazy scenarios in my head of something happening to her, to the point where like I literally just wasn't sleeping at night because every time I closed my eyes, like I would imagine like something traumatic happening to her. And then like, it was just so bad. And like every day it was just like so much anxiety. And like, I would go through the day with just like a huge weight on my chest and like constantly like having like these like thoughts in my head of something happening. And that was just really rough. So like I stopped exercising and I was just like in a funk again. So like I wasn't able to really record anything. And it's been a little bit difficult, like trying to get back into it. But now that I'm 4 months postpartum, it's been a month now since the anxiety started. I feel like I've learned to cope with it better. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm still a very anxious person right now, but I don't think it's as bad as it was like when I was 3 months postpartum. So like a month ago. Like, I feel like my anxiety has definitely like calmed down a little bit more. I don't know if I'm just like figuring out how to just like live with it day by day, but I feel like the thoughts aren't as intrusive anymore. And like, I'm not up at night just like thinking of all these crazy things. Like, I still worry about her, but I feel like it's more of like a normal type of worry now. I think because I don't feel like it's really controlling my life anymore. So that's why I'm finally able to record this video and record something, because I finally am starting to feel normal again. I just never like thought that giving birth and like postpartum would be such a roller coaster of emotions. Like, there has been so many highs and like so many lows, like so many that like only like Chad and like some of my close friends have known about, like where my mental health was, because like it's not something that like I really wanted to talk about. But now that like I'm getting through it, like it's easier for me to talk about, even though like I still have to live with a lot of the guilt that I feel from the beginning. Definitely still weighs on me, but it's still something I'm working on getting through every day, just like being the best mom I can for her now, since that is the best I can do. Mental health is definitely a hard topic to talk about. Like, I don't think it's a taboo topic to talk about anymore, only because everyone is such big advocates of mental health. Definitely makes it easier to talk about and like easier to film about, because I know I'm not the only one who's gone through this. There's so many people who go through this, and so many women who like experience postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. And it's such a normal thing. And even men experience postpartum depression and anxiety, but that's not talked about. If you're going through this, just know you're not alone, because I went through it and it was really bad. Yeah, you can get help to get better, because it's super normal and it should definitely be talked about more. So if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. Like, I will definitely answer everything I can. And I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye!